This is entitled the Super Freak Rick James Worship Leader video. Back many years ago when I was a sinner, I was not a Christian, some of the worldly music that was popular back then was produced by a musician known as Rick James, and singer, I guess you'd say. And one of the top most popular tunes at one point that he produced in amongst my circle was a song called Super Freak. And Rick James, he was known for, this outrageous look. Now, unfortunately, we have in today's time young men, maybe they're not familiar with Rick James, but they're coming up trying to lead worship, and they have these outrageous, freaky, weird hairdos, long braids that, many of them look just straight up effeminate, which we know if you study the Bible, it speaks totally against men being effeminate. And so you that have little boys and you're putting them in these long braids and these different feminine hairstyles, you're not representing traditionally the black church, holiness church, which I came up in that arena. We were more conservative, more professional looking. Now we have, maybe back then, folks were more conservative or more strict than they needed to be to get to heaven. But, we're not just kind of moderating that and easing up. We have these people who are getting up, given positions to lead worship, who look like Rick James or some other, effeminate or weird or freaky looking worldly artist. Or, there's other variations on the same. We have some who, there's this one guy who's leading worship, I see, and he looks like a Lucky Troll doll. With the brightly colored hair and sticking up on all kind of weird on the top of his head. Now, you got these people who say, well, styles or looks or clothes or whatever doesn't save you. Well, maybe that's technically true. Rick James, no matter what he's looking like and doing, at the point in time he accepts Christ, he can accept Christ looking like he looks. But here's the deal. Sometimes a half-truth is worse or as bad as a lie. True God can save you with no clothes on, naked, running around on a nudist beach. He can save you. But the thing is once you accept Christ, you need to begin to sanctify everything about you to represent holiness, because what you wear, if you look real freaky and you're up before God's people and sinners too, trying to lead them in worship of God, and you have a look that's signaling that you're effeminate or that you're wild or that you're, whatever, your look, it is a language. Just like your words. You wouldn't say a saint should be cussing people out or talking seductively or sensuously to be someone they're not, talking sensuously to someone they're not married to, or they shouldn't be cussing anybody out. As far as that, that's a language of words. But your style, your look is also language. Because I was, one point I was going to a church, visiting a church and started attending. I kind of liked the church. That's in the area, and they have an effeminate worship leader, and I tell you, it seemed like that was attracting homosexuals to the church who were not coming and getting saved, but one of them tried to come up and start trying to chat me up. There was one guy, he was playing the organ for the services at a conference. And I was straining, trying to see, was it a man? Was it a woman? It was in these times when people are trying to make genders so fluid. God made male and female, but now people are trying to come up with all these genders. We should not be cluing or insinuating by our style that, hey, anything goes and you can be, whatever you want and cross between, male and female. We shouldn't be doing that. We should stand up and we should teach these boys teach these young men, teach the old men if they need teaching, get them out of these long, feminine, crazy looking hairdos. Some of them may not be feminine, but you shouldn't come in with orange hair that's sticking straggly up on your head looking like a troll. The saints of God should be holy. They shouldn't look like little demon dolls. So we need to teach holiness. God can save you in whatever state you come to him in, but salvation is for everybody. But to walk the life of holiness, the lifestyle of holiness after you get saved, your style, what you say with your mouth, what you say with your style, it matters. Now, I know, somebody said, well, what about the women? Yeah, we got some women who get way out there and, put on, I saw one lady, blue eyelids and all that stuff, but I'm not dealing with that right now. I'm talking about the men right now, because it has really just grieved my spirit that we got leaders who don't have the guts, the spiritual backbone to teach the young man and teach them in love. But if they leave and you lose, some of them are very talented. If you leave your best lead singer, if they leave, is what I'm saying. If you lose them because you're teaching them to be men, then they weren't right from the first place. They got the wrong spirit. And if you got to sing yourself, I'm not a singer, but if I got to sing, I used to be over the choir. If I've got to sing a solo with my no singing self, rather than promote some effeminate Rick James, Lucky Troll doll looking person, then that's what I will do. Ladies, if you encounter one of these guys with this weird looking styles and freaky, super freak Rick James looking or looking like a troll doll or any of these weird colors and styles or effeminate stuff, I'm going to tell you, I would not encourage you to get in any kind of, relationship, dating wise with them, because if they are so hungry for attention that they got to look weird like this, or if they're doing it, I don't know, just because there's something in them that's making them do this. If they can get up before God's people and sinners as well and be distracting from the glory of God, talking about leading worship, but they're a distraction from what they're doing, looking so wild or crazy, there's an underlying spiritual problem, maybe a mental problem too. You need to really, really, really rethink, any sort of relationship with him. And don't try to say, oh, well, I can fix him. No, you let him get a good brother, older brother, mentoring him and try to help them. I'm not saying they're not saved, but they got some issues that you are going to have a real problem down the line. I guarantee you. All right. Till next time.